There were times when I was in here when you could always feel that you weren't alone. There seemed to be someone watching over this. There are spirits here. My name is Eddie Kroom. I am a retired HPD officer, and one of the pleasures that I've had over my career with HPD is to put together the Honolulu Police Department Law Enforcement Museum. One thing I learned about the museum as soon as we started to put everything together to bring things in here, that there was something a little eerie about the museum. There were times when I was in here when you could always feel that you weren't alone. You get that shadow moving in the corner of your eye. So I did a little bit of research to determine if there was a basis for something paranormal going on in the museum. What I found was that the Honolulu Police Department, the building, is built on the site of the Honolulu Rapid Transit Bus Barn. In the 1800s, the trolley cars would come into the bus barn in the evening. They would be serviced, turned around on a big trolley that would turn them around, and then they would go back out the next day. What I discovered was one day, two workmen who were working in the mechanism, greasing the mechanism, were not aware that one car was still out. When that car came in, they turned it, the workmen were crushed. And the Honolulu Police Department is built on that site. Actually, when the department was first opened, we had a few incidents that occurred at the photo lab, which is the exact site. And eventually they moved throughout the building and, of course, the museum. Now you have to consider, this museum, everything here belonged to someone. We have items from 1941. We have items back to the 1800s, whether they be weapons, whether they be uniforms. We have one of the original HPD belts that goes all the way back to the 1800s. And these items belong to people. So you could understand that there must be a good feeling running through. One thing that I have to say, we have never encountered anything that harmed or hurt. More just kind of being aware, just kind of wanting to know what's going on, yes. So there are many stories, there are many things that has happened in the museum. There are some that you might consider minor. We have a display in the back that is dedicated to the police officers who were part of the Honolulu Police Department from 1941 to 1945. We actually have a weapon that was donated to the museum by a member of the 442 that was taken from a Japanese officer. We have a .45 caliber weapon that was used by a member of the 442, and these individuals have since passed. And one of the unique things about this exhibit is that it seems to have a watcher. There seems to be someone watching over this. Many times during my tours, I've had people come up to me and say that when they're looking at this particular display, that they could feel breathing on the back of their necks. When they turn around, there was nothing there. So these are the types of things that occur here in the museum. One of the most unique, and one that I myself has a very hard time trying to explain, and people that were involved in it cannot explain it. And it begins with a mannequin that stands near the door. It was a 3-day weekend. My habit, because I felt the mana in the museum, is whenever I'm going to be gone, say for the weekend, I would always come in before I turn off the lights. I would say good night. Good night, everyone. But this particular day, it was a 3-day weekend, and I left early. I did not close the museum. Well, the museum was closed and locked, as always. When we came in, I unlocked the door myself that following Monday. The mannequin in the corner was standing upside down on its head. Now, you might think that's nothing, but what is unique about that is that this mannequin, complete with this base, weighs a couple of 100 pounds. The mannequin was standing on top of its head, no damage. The hat was still on top of the mannequin, perfectly still standing on top of his head in the corner. We looked at it, we tried to figure out what could have happened if someone could have come in. but it couldn't have because there's only 2 sets of keys. I had one and the other one was in a locker in the back, so no one else could have come in to do that. So that was one of the unique things that happened. But over the years, we've had many other small things. We've had kids that come to tell us that certain things are moving, that things are not the way they seem. A mannequin, 1 second is staring, and the next second it may blink just once. We've had kids come screaming to the front of the museum, insisting that the mannequins are blinking. Now, I've never seen the mannequins blink, but I take them for their word.
We had a group of kids from an elementary school come by for a tour of the museum. So while the kids are walking around the museum, looking at all the displays, they noticed the mannequin's left hand started to move towards them. The kids saw that, surprised them, got up, turned around, and came running straight for me and saying, "Officer Brand, Officer Brand." I was like, "What's going on? What's happening?" And one of the kids says, "Hey, those mannequins back there, are they robots?" And I was like, "Oh no, they're not robots." "Why? Why do you ask?" "Because we swear we just saw them move." And I was like, "You saw them move?" And they're like, "Yeah, one of the mannequins moved his arm." So I was like, "Okay, kids, come with me." So I took the kids back. They showed me the mannequin to the left of this large silver badge we have back there. And I said, "Which mannequin was it?" He said, "It was that mannequin." And I said, "Which arm did it move?" He said, "It was his left arm." So I touched the mannequin's left arm and tried to move it, but it didn't move. It was stiff. So I asked the other kids, I said, "Did you guys see the mannequin's arm move too?" They said, "Yeah, we saw his left arm move." So I don't doubt what these kids told me, that the mannequin moved.
When individuals come to the Honolulu Police Department Museum, one thing I would like to caution you, remember that there are mana here, there are spirits here. As you walk through, as you look at each and every display, as you look at these items, remember these items actually belong to individuals who are part of this department from the early days of this department's inception. So if you're walking through the museum and you feel a little tug on your coat or a little whisper in your ear, don't get upset. Just smile and nod because they're here. They are protectors. This is the Honolulu Police Department Law Enforcement Museum. Their life was protecting. And they're just interested in you and make sure that you enjoy yourself as you come through the museum.